Today is February 4th, 2023, and what I did today was I worked back in the bilge here a little bit. I'll show you what I did. I've been painting back there and I'm through painting, so now I'm hooking up some wires. This is the bilge pump here. This is the automatic bilge pump switch, so when water comes in here it lifts this float up, turns the bilge pump. It lifts this float up here and turns the bilge pump on. See if I can focus that here. And this is the pump for the live well, and I've also teed it off here, so it's going to feed my washdown pump. This will go to the washdown pump. This will go to the live well. And I put a shutoff valve in here, just in case, because this through hole here, this through hole here, is below the water line. The water line's right up here by this blue stripe, so you know, there might be a time when you got to shut that off, who knows. And I have a cover that fits over here. That's all finished. I just don't have it on there right now. I got my vents in, port and starboard vent. And the other thing I did today was I put fiberglass down on the sole. I don't know if it's going to show up here on camera, but this area here is all fiberglassed on the sole, and up in the bow, from the front of the bow way up there all the way back to right here is fiberglass. There's a strip of material between here and there that is not fiberglass yet. I had to leave that open because I had to have some place to put my feet while I was working on that stuff there. So I didn't film fiberglassing. I quit doing that because I end up just getting epoxy all over my camera. I don't have anybody else. I'm here alone, so it isn't anything that's particularly great to see anyway. All it is you put down the cloth, soak it down with epoxy, smooth it out with a squeegee, and wait for it to get hard. In this weather, this is February, it's winter, so this epoxy at 77 degrees, this epoxy takes 3 hours to get hard. Here now, it's more like 5 hours. So I'll come out here tomorrow and I'll finish up this last little strip here and clean up any little touch-up thing I got to do. And I'll also put down the cover over the fuel tank, which goes right here. You can see there's pieces of fiberglass. I will trim those off right there. And there's another piece over there and around the edges there. I got to trim that off real nice. And then I will attach the cover. I'll put that down semi-permanently, I'll call it. Because there may be a time somewhere down the road, years from now I hope, where that tank has to be replaced. So I didn't want to put it down permanent. But I will seal it so no water will go down there. I'll seal it with some kind of sealer to keep the wood from rotting down there. But that's the way that is. So that's what I did today. Not that much work, but kind of tedious. But I can't go any further right now, so I gotta wait. Tonight, right now it's 9 o'clock p.m. and I'm done for the day anyway. But unless something comes up, I should have this finished here tomorrow. The sole anyway. And that's that. Today is February 10th, 2023, and I'm going to be putting down a second layer of epoxy on top of the sole. A couple reasons for that is the first layer was really thin, and I did that because it's easier to control the cloth because it wants to keep moving around when you're working with it. It's easier to control it when you have a real thin layer because a thick layer, or where there's little puddles and such, the glass wants to keep floating to the top, and then that makes a bubble underneath there. So it's not good. It's not very strong. So I put a thin layer on it. That got hard a couple of days ago. Today I'm filling in the weave a little bit. It's not really necessary, but you know, people are going to be walking on this thing 1,000 times, wearing it down, and the more epoxy that is on top of the fiberglass cloth, the better protected it'll be, the longer it'll last. So that's the plan for today. It's a pretty simple job. I just got to be careful not to step in it while I'm working in it. And after that, we'll move on to the next thing. Well, that's the front half of the boat. I'm just putting down a second coat of epoxy to fill in the weave in the cloth. That's all I'm doing here. I'll spread it out the best I can here. Over the next few minutes, it'll flatten itself out pretty smooth and harden up. And then after that, I'll sand it, and then I can put primer paint on it. That's what we're doing today. Here I'm putting sheathing on the wires for the bilge pump, the live well pump, and the automatic bilge switch, just to protect the wires a little bit. Plus it looks a little nicer. I just measure out how much I need here. Cut it off. And cut the ends off the wire so they don't catch on things. Getting them started is a little tricky sometimes, but not that hard to do really. Just kind of force it down the wire there until it comes out one end. The end kind of wants to unravel, you got to tape it. After I get the sheathing on here, put a little piece of tape on here and label what it is. Bilge pump. So when I get on the other side of this bulkhead here, I know which wire is which. Stick it in there. Gotta do the switch. Same thing with the switch here. Cut those ends off. Cut a length of this. roughly like that, I suppose. Use the scissors. It just looks nicer, I think. Kind of hard to get them started. Just like that. There. Nice and fancy.